And hello, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney. Last time was a while ago because this is something I'm playing as I have time, and apparently Steam is offline, so what I was going to do and record today, I can't. So I was going to do this week anyway, so let's get to it. In the future, I very much want to do the entirety of like an adventure chapter, whatever, and then start posting stuff to make sure things aren't spread out and at least stops at a good stopping point. This sort of just ended up in an unfortunate way because I wanted to get somewhat close to the release date, but then I didn't even get close to the release date, and etc, etc. No one cares. Let's move on. Last time we discovered that the government was hiding someone's involvement. So let's go. I guess the police specifically, which I guess is a different organization than the government. Oh, what voices did I do? It actually has been a while. Excellent work, Ryunosuke. That was superb. My heart was in my mouth the entire time. It was almost unbelievable. I mean, looking at you in there. You were drenched in sweat, your eyes popping, your knees knocking, and you were grinding your teeth. It was a grim sight, but before I knew it, we started finding inconsistencies in their testimonies. I think you might have a natural talent for being a lawyer. Forget it. It's terrifying. If I get through this, I don't want to. I don't want to ever see the inside of a courtroom again. Oh. Unfortunately, we're playing a game where you're the main protagonist. Anyway, it looks like we've exposed your phantom lady at last. Miss Giselle Brent, a student from Great Britain, is she? That's what I was trying to tell everyone from the start. So I will note that I played the first 5 games, I believe it is. But there's a lot I don't remember from them just because it's been a long time. So I do realize that Ryunosuke is clearly supposed to be very Phoenix-like. And I would say that Kazuma here feels like he's supposed to be like Edgeworth. There are several elements of his poses and whatnot that remind me of Edgeworth a lot. So I sort of get a feeling that he's like that. I wouldn't be surprised if he like turned around and became a prosecutor against us at some point. Or we became no, I guess we'd always have to be defense because that's like how the game works, mechanically. Ooh, that would be interesting. What if we became a prosecutor? It would sort of be very different for this series, but it would be a way to flip the mechanics even just like for a trial. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone. There's a young woman with him, like I've been saying all along. Yes, you have, haven't you? I may not be overly confident in the courtroom, but my power of observation are one thing I'm sure of. Why are you putting that in orange? Yes, I can see that. So, about this young, gentlewoman. Thanks to our detective friend, she's hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. So, whoever told him to do that wasn't like there and like knew her background, or like knew that it's like, oh my goodness, another white person. It was some. I wonder if she's working with them in some capacity already. Oh my goodness, could this be a Could this be like an actual like cover-up? Like they purposely did it, like the police did it? If the police are a whole separate power, that's definitely the sort of thing that in history you've seen that sort of become power crazy over time, sort of thing. Did you see what happened with that? No, I didn't see any of it. I was just on my way out of the restaurant myself then. On the floor next to Dr. Wilson's table, I noticed there was a gun lying on the floor. And just after I bent down and picked it up... Bang bang. I didn't have time to think about where the sound of the gunshot has come from. The waiter ran over to me looking as white as a sheet. So the argument is that the gun was on the floor already, and then the shot happened while he was over there. And we could probably prove that it had to be her from the other chair, right? because it had to come from the front. Like, the bullet didn't go all the way through, but it does prove direction, right? And, I believe one of the... It's been a while since the previous testimonies, too, so I hope I remember stuff correctly. One of the previous testimonies said, something along the lines of... What was it? That it was some directional thing as to what he saw immediately. He obviously didn't see it clearly, but he was pretty confident in that, he saw someone standing over having shot, right? And he bundled me into some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen. Fast thinking by the detective, he apprehended his suspect without a moment's delay. Yes, and because I was shut in the pantry, I have no idea what happened outside in the dining area. There you are. Well done, both of you. Okay, I thought it might be him. Professor Miktoba. Well, it seems I was right. The pair of you make an outstanding team. You've exceeded my expectations, I have to say. Yes, it seems you planned this from the start. You arranged things so that I wouldn't be able to act as a lawyer in this trial. Our modern country is still in its infancy. Our justice system, even more so. Which is why I firmly believe that we need to send our brightest young stars overseas to learn all they can. I wanted to avoid a situation that may have resulted in your study tour to Great Britain being cancelled. Well, it makes no difference. Lawyer or otherwise, if I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life, I shouldn't waste everyone's time by going to study overseas anyway. What? What do you say, Kazuma? Yeah, that's basically what I said before. That's what I figured. So that's your stance. I was afraid you'd feel that way. Kazuma! Well then. Looks like it all comes down to you, young man. To me? Don't vibrate the controller. That actually surprised me. I don't even remember that vibrating before. Yes, you need to prove your innocence and uncover what really took place in that restaurant. I must say, I very much want to know the truth. After all, I have a personal connection to this case. Come to think of it, he said the same thing earlier this morning, didn't he? I don't remember that. If you don't mind me asking, Professor, did you know the victim? Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, Dr. John H. Wilson was a visiting professor at UMA, and it was I who invited him. Oh, I see. I didn't know that before. Anyway, you're about to go into battle. The victim was a university professor from Great Britain, and a well-known one at that. Naturally, our government is looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible. Well, if the right hand doesn't talk to the left hand between the police and the government, they might legitimately not know, and it could be them legitimately fighting against each other in some capacity. Could someone in the police be purposely trying to jeopardize the, No, if someone in the police was purposely trying to jeopardize it, they would have had the Gentlewoman, they would have had her, because that's the problem that makes it a bit like a big controversy, right? The idea that it's English woman on English man crime. That sort of thing, right? Then again, it's a controversy no matter what, but if they really wanted to play it up as a way to, like, undermine the government's efforts to, like, have expansionism, or whatever you want to call it for them, accepting more ideas from the West and whatnot, if it was something like that, I feel like they'd leave her, unless she has, like, some connection that would prove they're involved, or something like that. Then again, it feels like they're sort of being outed as is, so. And it does create a controversy by having a Japanese person framed for it still, so maybe it still achieves what they want. But let's not forget who we're going up against. The Gentlewoman, whose involvement our police bureau went to extraordinary lengths to hide. Yes, I'm sure the prosecution will be using every tool at their disposal to quash your case. Well, I think they have about as many tools as they have hairs on their heads, so... But I've no doubt that you pair will put up a good fight, right to the last. Best of luck. Thank you. Now then. I need you to run an errand at the university at once. There's something I think we may need. Of course. Has she talked before? She's on, like, the art, so I think she's gonna be significant in the story, yeah? She hasn't really done much yet. Good luck, Kazuma-sama. Defendant Naruto! Court recess is over. Please make your way back inside the courtroom at once. It is time. Let's get back to it, partner. Let's go in there and deal a decisive blow before those old fossils know what's hit them. Kazuma? What? Thank you. Really? What for? Well, if you hadn't said you believed me, then I'm fairly sure I'd already have been found guilty by now. Look, I have faith in you. As a lawyer, and as a friend. Coming from you, that does mean a lot. He does look so heroic and trustworthy. It feels like you could put a lot of faith into his opinion, just because of the sweeping headband. If I'm found guilty in this trial, he's really going to give up on his dream of studying abroad. That's the kind of true friend he is. So this just isn't my battle anymore. Whoever we're up against, we absolutely cannot afford to lose. Alright then. I'll save the thank yous for after the trial now. You can treat me to one of those sukiyaki meals I like from the Yume cafeteria on University Street. Oh, FYI, if the power goes out in the middle of this, that might happen, so, I guess we'll see. Because it went out yesterday, with an extra portion, of course. Sorry, I'm ruining the moment, but I just saw a bunch of, lightning flashes, so, FYI. Okay, let's get back to it. We got a bunch of stuff on our... The court hereby resumes the trial with Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Prosecutor Aochi, have you managed to subpoena the witness? Yes, Your Excellency! Against all odds! And thanks to certain young stripling, the prosecution is now under rather painful scrutiny from the government. Sorry? Let the government scrutinize. That is their job. It is nothing to worry about. It's highly unlikely that the good relations we forge with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed. That might even be the point. We still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down and our nation flounders? Founders? Do you mean flounders? Founders? I think it means flounders. Again, terribly sorry. If the friendship between our nations is really so fragile, then the treaty isn't worth the paper it's written on. True. You really have nothing to worry about, Ryunosuke? True. If this is enough to break the treaty, it was never going to last. What do you mean? A secret trial, anxiety over some foreign government's opinions, a bungled investigation, missing witnesses. Is this what our nation's justice system is? Is this the Supreme Court of Japan or of England? Shut up, you jumped up rookie boy! You and your friend know nothing. Nothing of the situation our nation finds itself in. But by aligning ourselves with this great world power, we'll become strong. Diplomacy has never been more critical. Steady political maneuverings will secure our futures. He's thinking. I won't deny that I'm no expert. I'm just a student, and One who could arguably study harder, too. But standing here now in our Supreme Court, there's one thing I feel very, very strongly. A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country with no future at all. Well said. Oh, there we go. Well said, Ryunosuke. Despite the wide-eyed look of terror, I think that's his thinking face. You little brat! Thank you, Counsel. This court is the pinnacle of our nation's justice system and exists solely for the pursuance of truth. With that in mind, this trial will now resume, with the next witness taking the stand. The visiting student from Great Britain, Ms. Giselle Brett. Yes. Your Excellency! Da 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 da. Oh my. Oh my. Well, what a delight it is to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan, and from such a distant land. Tea? Bring some English tea. In England, no discussions will take place without tea. Is that true? No idea. Well, if anything, that could have been more offensive than not. You think we cannot have discussions without tea? How dare you? We will break off this treaty immediately. So, could we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation for the court? Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I've been working undercover as the head waiter at Le Carnival, and my Yes, we know about you already! Inspector Hosonaga, where are your manners? In England, it's always ladies first. Is that true? No idea. More importantly, a little earlier today you said something to me. You said your powers of observation are the one thing you're sure of. Oh, yes, I think I did, didn't I? Yet your description for this amazing sight was simply a woman. Oh no. No, Kazuma, don't! Sorry, Ryunosuke. But powers of observation aside, your powers of description are sorely lacking. Guilty? So, dear lady, once again, if we may trouble you for your name and occupation, please. The lack of showing the eyes is... Oh no, she doesn't speak Japanese. Oh no. Someone going, that's gonna be a problem. If they get a translator for her, then inconsistencies could be explained away by the translation, couldn't it? I'm terribly sorry, dear lady, but... What? The lady says her name is Giselle Brett. She comes from London, England. She's a visiting research student currently enrolled at Yume University's medical facility. Wait. Medical what? Medical faculty? Okay, you know, research student. That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, that's how graduate programs typically work. Maybe back then too, I don't know. Oh my, what a rare treat to hear the dulcet tones of the delightful language of the British people. Oh, I'll try it next time she talks. I'm afraid I don't understand a word he said, but it was as beautiful as a hummingbird song. And as far as I can tell, the detective is translating her words faithfully enough. Yes, I agree. You obviously do fine in England, Kazuma. The English doesn't rattle you at all, does it? No, you've clearly been paying attention in your English classes, Ryunosuke. Okay, so can we understand her when she talks? Could we see, like, a potential translation? issue or... Okay. The court thanks the beautiful lady for taking the stand. Now, if we may trouble you to confirm something, Miss Brent. I'm happy they're saying beautiful and other random bullshit. Because if they... I guess it depends if they have a stenographer. But if anyone went back and looked at this trial and is like, well, they're treating her rather well, it will be much more obvious in the actual, you know, word said. 3 days ago, at a restaurant called La Carnivale, a grim murder took place. The court has been led to believe that you were dining there with the victim, Dr. Wilson, at the time. Is that correct? No, are we gonna do this every time? That's my hummingbird impression. She says yes. This this could take some time. So even though she's studying here in Japan, she can't speak any Japanese. Well, at least we got past the point of him talking to her. She'd like to apologize for disappearing from the scene. She says that she was due to make a presentation at the university, and so she had to leave immediately. By order of the police? Interesting. When you're the one who engineered her escape. I was just following special orders from the Bureau. Well, now, dear lady, would you be so kind as to cast your eyes on this photographic print? Seeing as you were so unfortunately present at the scene of the crime, could it be that your resplendent eyes caught sight of the wicked perpetrator, perhaps? Apparently, it was a very frightening experience, and a sorrowful sight. Do you mean to say... Yes, it would appear that the lady did witness the crime. The very moment when the accused, standing right there in this courtroom, shot the victim in cold blood. Well, I mean, this is what I expected her to try, right? Oh, she's a little tail, too. Oh. Order. Order in the courts. Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Here we have an absolute conclusive witness statement. But oh, come on. Okay, so... She's very... I mean, the fact that the gun was on the floor means it very clearly was intended to be a setup in the first place. It was planned outright, and it's very obvious she was basically put up to it by the police, and that's why the police made the special order, right? Which explains why she's making that declaration. It does seem as though that the detective here isn't in on it. He had orders, but I don't know if... other orders could have been made since then, I suppose. But he seems generally interested in following the case through to the truth and the proper conclusion, right? Well, looks like it's clear now. Clear who our real enemy is. Unfortunately, I will have to ask you to formally testify, if you please. Kindly tell the court the exact nature of this frightening and sorrowful sight you described. Does she not actually know Japanese at all? I wonder if that's going to be something we're going to have to pull out from her. Or could her not knowing Japanese be indicative of something about her, what she's doing here? Like she's not really a research student. That's just the cover or something like that. Oh, right. Then there's the fact that, what's-his-face, the professor, had what's-her-face go and get something from the university. Oh, maybe it's the school registrar or something like that to prove she's not really a student. Or a research student. So if it doesn't... She says like one line, and then he has like 20. I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beefsteak. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor, and they got into a fierce argument. Oh, okay. Interesting. Then, not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit. Well, I hate to be too, you know, about it, but you have a lot of places you could hide a gun there. Is it in the swan? I think that's supposed to be a swan.
Yes!
This is a No, I didn't have any kind of argument with the professor at all. Except I just said yes, which means I confirmed the argument, but no.
Objection!
Quiet, you filthy wretch. Look at you, you black-hearted blackguard. And look at the Snow White Angel. I'm sure even a dark-minded scoundrel like you can imagine whose word the court is going to believe. The one... Oh, no. You're still making the same mistakes, Ryunosuke. You mustn't blow it out when you're goaded like that. That's a lesson you need to learn. But he's so annoying. Of course, I was at the scene as well. I took statements from this lady and the 2 witnesses who testified before and reported back to the bureau. It was decided that Miss Brett was not involved, so I let her go. The testimonies of the last 2 witnesses were completely worthless, however. Well, even so, on the day in question, the lady was wearing the same outfit as she is today. Well, that's relevant, which means she's probably hiding a gun somewhere, isn't she? As you can see, there's nowhere about a person where she can see a firearm. Why not? I would think she could hide a gun almost anywhere in an outfit if outfit like that if she wanted to. Unless and until the precise location where the witnesses have hidden a weapon can be shown. This is moot. There are no pockets in my outfits. I have nowhere to hide a gun. Those are the witnesses' own words on the matter. So are we assuming that she can... Are we assuming that he's translating everything we're saying to him at this point? Or could we take that as she's understanding our Japanese, and because she was goaded into something... that's ridiculous. If only I was allowed to lift up a dress, I could prove it. No, don't take that out of context. Don't take that out of context. Don't think about doing anything rash, Ryunosuke. But I didn't fire the gun I picked up. There must have been another gun there that day. You're right about that. Which means... the lady was hiding a gun somewhere? Yes. That's what we have to prove now. And to do so, we need to pull her testimony upon. They put so much emphasis on the clothes that it's definitely... Oh, there it is. Oh, she smiled in reaction to him talking, and that definitely wasn't translation. Okay, that's the key that she can understand English. Got it. Yes, Your Excellency. Let us begin. Can I push... Can I press on the... Will it have the... Oh, I was hoping it would have the, like the little bits where they're like going back and forth and I could press on one of that. Haha, I heard a contradiction in that statement I couldn't understand. Took the professor's gun? That's an interesting statement to make. Like I said, I did not shoot that gun. No, I want to know about why you're saying it's the professor's gun. And like I said, there's no point in repeating that assertion over and over. Well, I wasn't expecting to be attacked by my own side. Nevertheless, defendant, you can't deny that when the shot rang out in the restaurant, you had a gun in your hand. But if it wasn't pointed at him... Well, yes, that's true, but... but all I did was pick up the gun I saw on the floor next to the professor as I was leaving the restaurant. In fact, yes, there was someone much closer to the victim than me at that time. The highly suspicious lady in the That will do, you dirty, rotten scoundrel. Dirty? Our baseless accusations could very well cause an international incident, boy. It seems to me that your accusation is just as baseless as ours. What nonsense. The lady's merely stating what she saw. And this is already an international incident as far as I'm concerned anyways. I guess we gotta press this. It's all very well saying that, but can you prove it? Absolutely. I verified it personally. You verified it? Yes. Immediately after the incident, I checked to make sure the lady was not carrying a weapon. I distinctly remember her saying, "I'm not." That's all you did? You just asked her? Surely you carried out a physical search, Inspector? That would be improper. No. Why on earth not? The Honorable English Gentlewoman clearly stated that she did not possess a weapon. There are obviously no need for any further probing into the matter. Or there was no permission given for any further probing into the matter, perhaps. Think what you will, but if you're going to continue with this preposterous claim that the refined lady was concealing a firearm, the prosecution demands that you support your assertion with facts. In other words, he wants evidence. Oh, give me evidence. Do it. The lady wishes to point out that, of course, she wanted to stay and assist with the investigation, but she was in a hurry to give a presentation at the university, so she was compelled to leave. Not to mention the fact that your officer told you to get the woman out of there. Yes, keep bringing it up. Do it. Keep doing it. Not to get her out of there. I just urged her to leave. The lady would like to point out that she in no way meant to run away from the scene of the crime. Which is why she was happy to cooperate and testify here in court today, of course. Unlike a certain student who refuses to admit when the game is up. You can at least have the courtesy to pay attention when I'm goading you. Oh, was that supposed to be a goad? Okay. He's growing. So she's maintaining that you got into an argument with the professor, at the end of which you shot him. Which is an out-and-out, totally unfounded lie. Still, the statement is very compelling. After all, she's an elegant, refined, young, and beautiful gentlewoman from Great Britain. They keep saying that. Either... it feels like they say that so much that they're going to turn it on its head at some point. Probably the refined part out of all those. Or the gentle part. I don't want to say the other option. In stark contrast to you, dressed from head to toe in a dull black school uniform. I think it's brown, thank you very much. Which is so much more colorful. Dressed exactly the same way you are, except for the flapping red ribbons. We're acknowledging it, guys. Well, anyway, I guess, no, never mind, we're not. This is our only chance to expose her testimony is the fiction that it is. If we can't do that, then the trial's over. Even you, with your thick skin, must be able to feel the murderous look you're getting from around the room. Only too well. I feel half dead already. The fact that I can't see a single inconsistency in her testimony isn't making me feel any better either. The first thing to do is press her on any of her statements that seem even slightly off to you. Do that, and an opening will present itself. I promise you. He knows the script of the game. So it's the true face of the exotic foreigner hiding behind the mask. Should be aiming for in this cross-examination. Okay. Anything that seems even slightly off. I mean, that seems fine. I guess, was it a planned tooth extraction thing? Or dental check? Yes. It probably would be, but I don't know. Maybe they weren't planned back then. After 2 p.m., in fact. That's really quite a late lunch, isn't it? You don't keep up with the latest fashions from Britain, do you? Late luncheons are on vogue, isn't that right? But he didn't do it because of that. She just goes along and that would be stupid. No. A decisive English no has quite a sting to it. No! No. 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 It does. A bit, yeah. Much like just screaming, yes! Every time you're trying to say, yeah, that's why he doesn't. That's why he's saying yes. He doesn't understand English properly. He thinks yes is no, and that might get him into trouble later. The gentlewoman is currently working in the victim's research laboratory, it seems. So it was apparently a daily occurrence that they would have lunch together. But on the day in question, the victim had another appointment at the clinic first. Yes, which you can prove in the medical report card that was submitted as evidence earlier. That's right. Miss Brett and the victim went to lunch following the victim's treatment, which is why it was so late. Yes. That all makes perfect sense. Such wonderful logic! What a shining example of English intelligence this fine gentlewoman is! Oh god, I just want to mute him. But I'm the voice. So you both arrived at the restaurant. What happened next? Okay, I think this is the only one I didn't press.
Yes!
Oh no, there's one more about the fight. He was unable to eat, you say? That was because he just had a tooth removed at the Hoda Clinic, correct? That's right. You're supposed to actually check with the witness before answering. Was Miss Brett aware of that fact? It seems so, yes. She heard that the professor was to have some dental treatment. So that would mean... that it was you who ate the steak pictured here. Is that right, Miss Brett? That's right, yes. The print you have there shows the table exactly as it was, left after horrifying events. Exactly as it was left. Ooh. Okay, sure, let's go look at it in excruciating detail. I do find it interesting that if she came there planning to murder someone, she bought an actual meal. It could just be to keep up appearances, but... I don't think this is going to be that useful for this. Outside of maybe the chair directions? I guess the only thing is that that has to be the doctor's, right? So the fact that it's not out and about... Dear me, what a harrowing experience! To have to travel to a distant island on the far side of the world and embroiled in such a tragic incident. Have no fear, my dear lady. I swear I will crush the evil fiend that has subjected you to this terrible plight. What was the other one? We had another picture that showed him on the side of the food. We didn't get any confirmation that this was like it, so the body could have been moved over here, I suppose. So the victim, Dr. Wilson, had nothing to eat or drink at all. That's right, other than some carbonated water. Just water. Yes, the professor was unable to eat, but he had been given permission to drink water. So it appears that the diners toasted their lunch with a glass of water each. They each raised a glass of carbonated water. That didn't look like water there. What do you think, Ryunosuke, about Witness's last statement? Everything's meaningful. What's the point? I wouldn't be given the option if it wasn't. That statement of yours, Miss Brent, has a profound bearing on the case. Well, how fascinating. Do tell us, what is this profound bearing? Uh-oh, did I make a mistake? I'm now doubting everything that I've ever done in life. Uh-oh. The significance of the statement will become apparent when the time is right. The defense calls for the witness's last statement to be formally added to the testimony. Well sidestepped, counsel. Very well. Miss Brent, kindly repeat what you just said to be added to your official testimony. Gladly, she said. That was brilliant, Kazuma. I'm going to remember that one. Which one? The significance will become apparent when the time is right. I could really use that phrase. I hope there are some more useful tips you're picking up from this experience than that, Ryunosuke. Okay, well that's basically... that's basically telling me I should present probably this one because it has the details of the everything, right?
Yes!
That's it. So one. Okay. So what do we think that it is going to be specifically? So one, that doesn't look like carbonated water. That seems significant, but I don't know why she'd lie about that. The significant thing to me, I think, is more the positions of Ryunosuke and her relative to all that. Huh. There's also a lack of a second glass, so... let me just confirm something, please. It's to do with this photographic print. Just a short while ago, you spoke of this print showing the victim's table at the crime scene. That it was exactly as it was left. Wait, no, wasn't that the detective statement? That is correct, the lady says. Well, that is... It's odd. Very odd. Dear me. What's odd is the defense's inability to express itself. Yeah, well, I mean... We're not great at it. Ryunosuke, what is it about the print that looks odd to you? Well, obviously, it's the cheers. The cheers? Miss Precious told us that she and the professor said cheers over a glass of water. But if that's true... There should be 2 glasses on the table, not 1. Fair. That's something I pointed out, but still. Ah. You're quite right, Counsel. There's only 1 glass pictured here. Are we supposed to be impressed by this nitpicking over minutia? But he said it was exactly. That's the point. Are we trusting the detective or are we not trusting the detective? What possible difference does the presence or absence of a glass make in the case? Minutia, you say? Could it be that the detective here removed a glass from the table to conceal the lady's presence? Of course not. I would never do something so reckless. But there should have been 2 glasses on the table. Or are you going to try to tell me you can only clink with 1? You're quite right. Is the explanation going to be something along the lines of someone drank out of the bottle and someone drank out of the glass? I certainly took 2 glasses to the table. Oh, okay, well there's an answer. Inspector, what did the lady say? It would seem that it was Miss Brett who took the glass from the table. What? It was all so terrifying, everything that happened. I panicked and thought I should try to hide the fact that I'd been there at all. She's saying, what? That's entirely different than what you were trying to say before in terms of wanting to stick around and help the investigation. Good gracious. She is panicking now. If she's giving that much of a contradiction to her previous attempt to phrase herself. Sorry. Sorry. I'm sorry. There, as I assured the court before, it is of no consequence at all. Oh, please. We must remember that this student had just murdered this lady's luncheon companion before her very eyes. Who can blame her for concealing a glass or 2 in her state of disarray? That's absurd. Oh, really? So do we take it that you are now going to accuse this vulnerable, young and beautiful woman of mischief? Yes, no, yeah, that's it. What? No, this can't be put down to mischief. I'd like to know exactly how the lady took the glass from the scene. Oh, good point. Are we going to prove that she could have moved the gun? It would seem that she slipped it into a small handbag she was carrying. That's fucking damning on the gun part. A handbag, you say? Yes, Your Excellency. A small handheld pouch commonly carried by well-to-do women in England. So, the beautiful lady has very graciously explained how and why she removed the glass from the scene now. However, the fact remains that the glass has absolutely no bearing on the case. So I do believe she took it. I believe she was intentionally trying to hide the fact that she was there, because she actively knew that they were trying to frame someone else. But that does prove the gun thing. The student has been trying to confuse the court with logical reasoning, but in the end it comes to nothing. Confuse the court with logical reasoning. That's fantastic. No more pretentious accusations. You have wasted enough time already. Indeed. The lady has offered a satisfactory explanation as to why she has removed the glass. I think henceforth we consider the matter to have no bearing on the case. Counsel for the defense, are you in agreement? Well, I don't know really. If you want to pursue this matter further, you're going to need to show that it has some deeper significance. Yes, you're right. So she took the glass away in a handbag. If there's a deeper significance, it's the handbag. Wait! The lady put the glass in her handbag, you say? Yes, do try to keep up. It's already been explained to the court that all English gentlewomen carry handbags for small items. Let me see. A little while ago, Miss Brett stated the following. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. But what she forgot to mention was a handbag. In which it would have been perfectly possible to conceal a gun. You're right. Well done, partner. I have a feeling you'd pick up on that too. What are you insinuating, you vile blackguard? What's a blackguard? It's really very simple. The gunshot was heard when the defendant picked up the gun from the restaurant floor. As he didn't fire the gun, we can deduce there must have been another firearm at the scene. The true murder weapon, if you will. You can't seriously be suggesting. Inspector Hosanaga. Yes. Did you or did you not search Miss J.L. Brett's handbag on the day of the murder? No, sir. I did not. As I thought. In other words, another gun. The one that was actually used to kill the professor. It could have been hidden in Miss Brett's handbag. Order! 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 What is the meaning of this, Inspector? The meaning of what, Prosecutor Archie? Why on earth did you not have the lady open her handbag and show you the contents at the time? Thanks to your bungling incompetence, now she has to endure these uncomfortable accusations. Brilliant work, partner. Now we have a chance to expose the real woman behind the mask. Do you really think so, Kazuma? Oh my goodness, he's gonna keel over at like the decisive moment. Well, what a sorry situation. Clearly you have no faith in the police. I mean, I feel like the police are in on it, so yeah, no faith. Let's go with that. Huh? As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after the shooting, simply because it was unnecessary. Unnecessary in what way? I have to thank the student lawyer, really? I have a piece of evidence here that I had completely forgotten about. Oh, you are such a good detective. This photographic prints. What the fuck? Ah. Interesting. That tattoo's interesting, too. This is a print of the photograph that I thought would be prudent to take immediately after the shooting. As you can see, it clearly shows Miss Brett's handbag. Well, I never. You can see right through what's inside. You can see right through to what's inside. That is right. Apparently, meshwork bags like these are the height of fashion in London at the moment. So the contents are clearly visible. Exactly. So there's no need to search the lady's handbag. If there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious. As you can see, there's nothing to imply Miss Brett's guilty here. Really? Mind you, she still could have hit it all over the place, but you know. Thank you for helping to prove that, Naruhodo-san. Oh my goodness, is he in on it? Is he in on it, but he's trying to act the part of someone trying to pursue the truth, to try to make it stick harder? So he's willing to let things sort of get built up? I wonder. Who else introduced the photographic print? But photographic prints, wouldn't they have taken a long time at this day and age? Oh, I don't know exactly when this is, and I don't really know exactly a lot about camera technology development. I'm trying to think, if she was, like, hustled out of there really quickly, would there have been time to take a picture of her handbag there? Huh. Oh, good. Someone's just like, you okay? Order. Order. Inspector Wasanaga, you will submit that print as evidence at once. Certainly, Your Excellency. I don't know whose side he's on now. He seemed sincere before, but I don't know. He seems sincere in not necessarily finding the truth or getting the right culprit, but doing his job properly, right? Which could entirely be covering up the crime and making sure that there's no doubt. Huh. I think you've had long enough to cross-examine the witness counsel. The court has now been shown considerable evidence. As the photographic print just submitted to the court record appears to have no further significance. I want to look at it. The tattoo stands out, obviously. It doesn't have enough resolution to really get more information from looking at the magnifying glass. Why do we even have this? So she tried to stow away the glass in a panic, put the handbag down afterwards, and wait long enough for a photograph to be taken back in this day and age. But she was in a panic to the point that she took it, and she didn't notice, and she did it by accident despite her being able to see through it. So much about this doesn't add up. But nothing that really proves anything's coming to mind. I can't really see anything in that top corner either. As the photographic print just submitted to the court record appears to have no further significance, I'm satisfied that there's no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Indeed, there's only one logical conclusion. That the pathetic rookie slumped over the bench before us is the only possible perpetrator of the crime. No. Just when I thought I was beginning to turn things around. I'm in a much worse situation than I was at the start. Kazuma? What's his face is going to show up with that evidence they were looking for, right? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there's no way to force the trial to continue. What? You mean this is it? I must say, you put up quite a fight for a rookie student, with the weak are meat while the strong eat. You're wasting your time. There's no way to defeat true justice. The fact that you can chew on to your heart's content from the inside of your cell. What, I'm not just gonna get executed? This can't be happening. Am I really going to be found guilty of a crime that I didn't commit? Kazuma. His dream of going to study in Great Britain will slip through his fingers. Kazuma. What? Is there really no chance of turning things around in this trial? You heard the judge. There's nothing about that last photograph the detective produced that we can contest. Which means there's no basis on which we can argue for the trial to continue. Very well. I will now proceed immediately to the ruling. It seems we were able to report to the British government on time after all. That smug little Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Having considered all the evidence placed before me, I hereby declare you yes. Wait, Your Excellency. Ryunosuke? I don't think you can rule on this case yet. This amateurness is getting tedious. When His Excellency deems the trial is over, he gives his ruling. That is the most basic protocol of the courtroom. Yes. Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. Wait, what does he have on it? I didn't even notice that on his hand before. As the photographic print submitted appears to have no further significance, there is no longer any room of doubt for the matter. I must make my ruling. Now, that means if there was a problem with the evidence, some significant detail, I mean, then ruling on the case at this time would be out of the question. Objection! This is a blatant straw clutching. Look at the photographic print. All it shows is the handbag the gentlewoman is carrying on the day in question. There'd be no problem with this evidence. You better know what you're doing, Ryunosuke. I know. Oh, I think I know. I think I know. Do we have anything? No, we don't have anything more on him. Nothing there. Nothing there. Oh. Ooh. Oh, there it is. The same shape. The same shape. Indicating that whoever the one was eating would had to have been the person like in the coat, right? But why wouldn't you just fake it with the coat then if you're going... I was thinking like maybe that tattoo or mark or whatever would prove that's not really him. And that feels like it goes that way, but why would that be there? That's such a weird thing to show up. It's the same shape though as the end of the hot plate. Like he got burned? Because it was hot and someone reached over and burned themselves on it? Okay, another thought on it. What hand is it on? It's on the right hand, so in order for that to happen, he would have had to have been reaching across the table. Which means he would have been on the other side, which is what I figured. Which would have led to... Not that. Which would have led to this being wrong. Well... No, this would be right, wouldn't it? Because if that's on that side, it would be his left if he wasn't reaching across the table. No. It would be his right if he wasn't reaching across the table. My bad. I'm getting flipped up because rights and lefts are hard. Which means he wasn't sitting there at the time, which means they faked it. They put that detail there on there purposely after he was on the other side of the table because they moved him over there in front of the food, right? I think that's it. Certainly. The new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone the court's scrutiny. However, I fail to see how we can glean any new information from the sandbag. My thoughts exactly. Really, the prosecution is becoming tired of this rookie's desperate wheezes. Yes, I am desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right. If only I could put my finger on it. I was thinking it was a tattoo or something that like belonged to someone else, but he didn't have, and we could prove that by people just knowing him or something like that. I will grant one final opportunity, but be warned that if I'm unsatisfied by your response here, the trial will be over with immediate effect. Him just coming down with the gavel. Oh, that is actually very intimidating. Do I make myself clear? Yes, Your Excellency. So, taking a look at the photographic print Inspector Osanaga submitted before, you identify for the court where in this print we see the significant detail to which you have alluded. I should save just in case, right? I'm pretty sure about my answer, but I should save just in case, right? I probably should. This is, I mean, it's very much, they're not subtle about it.
Yes!
Look at this, here. There's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist. That is true. It looks almost like a burn of some description.
Objection!
Dear me, I was pondering what new piffle you would come out with. A burn, you say, on the victim's wrist. Certainly that has nothing whatsoever to do with the magnificent lady's handbag. Yes, that is a burn mark, you're right. Oh, is he going to point it out? Go on, Inspector. The police coroner also knows that when he was performing the post-mortem examination, it was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't note it in his report. Oh! Wait, no, yes, no, yes, yes, no, yes, no, oh, could it be could it be something that they didn't fake, but they moved the food over to the other side to make it so that the only possibility was that he had shot or tried to make it so that he was on the right side to get shot by Ryunosuke. Could that be it? What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea when the victim suffered this burn, do we? And no possible way of knowing either. Oh, I mean, I can answer that. The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by the curious shape of the mark. However, as Prosecutor Aoi points out, unless a firm connection to the case can be shown, I cannot allow any further time to be spent on the precise details of this burn. Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would seem Miss Brett has a lunch appointment with the Dean and other university staff. Oh my goodness. She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now. Oh, of course, dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final ruling anyways. What's your thinking on this, Ryunosuke? Do you believe this burn does have something to do with the case? To be honest, I'm not really sure. But if I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. So I was thinking I should keep digging and digging in the hope that I might uncover something useful. Yes, you're right. I am? If we just link that burn to the case. If we can do that, we might be able to prise this shutting door back open again. Just give up, Counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that. Indeed. I'm afraid that without evidence, I can't allow you to pursue what is little more than conjecture. But if we had evidence, the fact that they're not bringing it up as evidence in any capacity makes me feel as though they didn't create it, which makes me feel as though it's more an inconsistency with something else they did change, right? So that's why I think they must have changed the actual, like, food spread or something like that to put it on the right side, because that's the only thing that even makes any sense as to why they might change that. Evidence that irrefutably linked the burn on the victim's wrist to the case. Then would you allow it? I would, yes. To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn. It really stands out. But as soon as he pointed it out, what I did notice was color draining from Miss Brett's face. Really? I have to find some link between that burn and the case. They do a fantastic job of building up tension. This is the moment of truth. Time to find some evidence that proves that what that burn really means. So then, the defense will now present its evidence to the court. The evidence that demonstrates an inextricable connection between the victim's burn and the trial. This is the only one that shows it. Yep. I never pressed the right button.
Yes!
What's this, counsel? Yet another print. Yes, Your Excellency. I believe photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at a scene, we miss things. But in a photograph, things that we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore. Do hurry up, Rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady any further would really be quite inexcusable. Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer if you don't mind, Miss Brett. Yeah, she's panicking. You see, it's very clearly visible in the other photograph. How did the victim come to have that unusually shaped burn on his wrist? It's also not sideways, so that would imply... I'm trying to line up... How would that work? What angle would you need to be? You need to... It'd actually have to be a pretty significant angle because the other one is sideways. Which means you couldn't get it from reaching across the table, right? Right? You'd have to do it from, like, on your side of the table if you were just... had your arms bent and stuff like that, right? The reason is recorded here forevermore. What? How? You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy! If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean. What in this photograph explains the reason for the victim's burn?
Yes!
The beefsteak? Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on. The plate. Your Excellency, are you alright? How do I want to... or something like that. Okay. That sounds about right. As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark of La Carnival. The emblem on the plate. And the victim's burn. Are exactly the same shape! Ryunosuke, you genius! You're spot on! Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant! That doesn't actually mean much until we can establish something notable with it. But even if that is the case, we can't know what happened. We can't know if it happened the day in question or not. Yeah, you can. Have they gone there before? It could have been the day before, or the day before that. Most likely happened at some other unrelated time. Well, that's a good point.
Objection!
That's actually a pretty good point. Sadly, Prosecutor Archie, the chances of that are extremely slim. Thank you. Why? The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Oh, you're just talking about how burns heal. Oh, yeah, I mean, that makes sense, yeah. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion in the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hosonaga? Can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly. But... I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago. And although it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined, as the defense just pointed out. This was no mild burn, that's for sure. Can you be more specific, Inspector? Well, let's see. Okay, now I think he's on our side again. Oh my goodness. I don't feel like he'd be giving this sort of testimony or information otherwise. Well, let's see. If the plate was around 90 degrees centigrade, and a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds. Intriguing. How long do those metal plates stay that hot? It's inconceivable that the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then. Unless they're already dead. I have been investigating the restaurant for several weeks already, but I've not heard anyone scream at all. As was the head waiter at La Carnival. I can testify that without hesitation. But you... Oh, at the time of the gunshot, right? All it needs to do is line up with that, and that means that... I guess that means they placed... I mean, it would explain why that other picture has him on the side of the food. But that means the food would have had to have been there before the death, or after, yeah, sorry, before the death rather than being moved there after the death. I'm just trying to understand why any of that would have happened and how it plays in. I'm not sure. You're a detective, not a waiter!
Yes!
There you have it. Something isn't right here. As the detective said, anyone who burnt themselves on piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that. And yet Inspector Hosanaga never heard the professor scream, not on that day or any before it. That's right, and the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either. I mean, unless we're saying he was dead before, like they took him out back, shot him, and brought him back in, that seems like it would be even harder to pull off, though. What are you suggesting? Well, if the professor had carelessly laid his wrist on the plate for anything like 3 seconds that day, it would be beyond careless, I think, Counsel. And the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, and the old antique dealer, all of us would, without any question, have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Professor Ouchie? Prosecutor Ouchie. No, I don't give him more respect than you do. Well, yes, I suppose. So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? I almost don't believe it. Ryunosuke, do you think? Can it really be true? I never dreamt we'd arrive at a conclusion like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe we've been led into a terrible trap. There's only one explanation I can think of to make sense of this apparent impossibility. That he was dead beforehand? Oh, my bad. On the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson was already deceased. Or was asleep? Let's look at the autopsy again. Time of death. Fatal hemorrhage from pectoral ballistic trauma. No exit wound will not pass through the body. Is that not going to be relevant? That feels like it would be relevant. Fatal hemorrhage from pectoral ballistic trauma. So he could be asleep. Maybe they poisoned him with the carbonated water. Maybe? And then they try to cover it up with a gunshot wound after he was already well dead. Huh. I still don't get why the food was on that side, though. It's one of these two. Well, I suppose both of my thoughts, like he got poisoned and then fell, he would already be dead, rather than putting him to sleep then shooting him. That seems overkill. No man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. Well, unless it was like chemically induced sleep, which was the other option. That's clearly impossible, apart from in one particular situation. Counsel, are you suggesting? Yes, it's only possible if the man was already dead. Already dead. Not even a flinch. Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation. How? Poison? It would had to have been poison, right? And the gunshot wound was just like a big Red herring, basically, right? When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead. That's madness! Order, please! How to explain this absurd notion at once? The victim was killed by a gunshot. That's right! You're absolutely right, Your Excellency! This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student, but clearly he has no grasp of the facts.
Objection!
No, Prosecutor Archie. It is you who has no grasp of the facts. I beg your pardon? As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered that burn while at the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from the witness again. If it's true, as we now believe, that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it's highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it. Incredible. You know, they are medical research, right? They could have stuff that would essentially be poison. I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brent, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement. But Your Excellency! It was fake anyway, so don't worry. The justice system in our country may be in its infancy, but rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I am prepared to pass judgment. Well, that's unusual for a Phoenix Wright game, yeah? Or Ace Attorney game. Thank you, Your Excellency. That looks like a brave face to me. What was that smile? Yes, of course. I mean, I'll be delighted to help. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours. Miss Brett, you speak Japanese? There we go. So it's not a case of her not being able to speak Japanese, which would have suggested the possibility that she wasn't really here as a research student, would have been, and that itself could be a lie. Well, of course I do. I am studying in your country, after all. I will say, the change in font is an excellent way to show the discrepancy in language now being translated. That is, whoever made that choice, fantastic choice. That is they've handled this about as well as I feasibly could imagine for translating to English, and English being technically the foreign language of what they're speaking. Just overall, fantastically done. But then, why have you been speaking through an interpreter until now? Laziness? My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. Not really. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible. I wonder, in Japanese, if they, because English has changed a lot over the years, even back in 1800s and whatnot. I wonder how well they did in actually matching the, dialect at that time. It would just confuse people in the English release, but you know. But it seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. So I can see that I shall have to lower myself to communicating with you all on your own level. Oh, well, you are the epitome of a true English gentlewoman. We are truly honored by this lavish consideration you so graciously afford us. I see. In that case, Miss Brent, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson. So, finally going to hear her own words on the matter. Things are getting interesting, Ryunosuke. Oh, true that. the victim's death. Unfortunately, I have no idea why the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life can have been taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway. Oh, how fun. Did you do something that you think you would have been caught in doing in England, but you thought we were too stupid to find it? That most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in the Supreme Court's history. Thank you. She just insulted the entire country. You freaking... Easy does it. Oh no, sorry. I still hate how the Switch's controllers have the shoulder buttons. I've gotten mostly used to it, but if I like juggle it around, it's still sometimes press it too easily. I hope this is the last time I have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your unbecoming tongue. Oh, forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone, you fucking asshole. You know full well. Not at all, not at all. It is a delight merely to hear you speak, dear lady. And it seems very clear from your testimony that this poor shock of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant. I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what happened here today. The Minister of Justice? May that irritating little bully soon be given the harshest punishment possible. Oh, you're going fucking down. Amen. Thanks? Was that a prayer then? Well, you'll have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brent, and put up with a cross-examination now. I expect you've noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much. Or can do things over and over again until they find it. I'm sure I don't need to remind you, counsel, that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. I will say, this feels... I don't remember how in-depth some of the introductory trials have gotten in the future, but this is definitely... I think this has been a very, very good introductory... if simply because it really does lean well into the whole in the past element to it. It really is interesting. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this witness's testimony, I will be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear? Oh boy. Yes, Your Excellency. Then you may proceed with the cross-examination. So fail to find any issues is that I only get one time through it? Or does it mean I don't get to press?
Yes!
But his hand was on the steering hot plate for at least 3 whole seconds. You can't have not noticed it. Do you think so? Then let me ask you something. Sorry. Ever since I arrived at this courtroom, and even still now, the fly on those unsightly black trousers of yours has been wide open. You can't have not noticed, can you? Hmm? What the... Ah! Oh no! What? What fun! You hadn't realized. The dear lady is absolutely right. As your friend, you've embarrassed me as well as yourself, Ryunosuke. Why didn't you tell me? I swear to goodness, if I don't get the press and this is the end of the trial result, that's gonna be devastating. Dr. Wilson was a true English gentleman. He chose honorable silence over a vulgar scream. Can you tiny brains not imagine such a thing? Oh yes, I think my tiny brain can. Oh my goodness. I mean, you're not lying. Well, I can't. Anyway. Okay, I can press things. Good.
Yes!
As you testified before, you were drinking carbonated water, is that right? Dr. Wilson was only permitted to drink water at that time, if you remember. Which explains why he ordered that drink. Correct, waiter? Exactly as you say, sir. Okay, so we are confirming that's carbonated water. Although? Whether or not the professor actually drank any of the water when I delivered the steak on the, to the table, I'm afraid I don't remember that. Damn you. Ah, I have enough English to understand that at least. For the benefit of others in the courts, it means bless you. Oh, someone told you that one time. Oh my goodness. Someone totally basically fucking swore at him or something like that. And told him, oh, it means bless you. And he's like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. I think it means the exact opposite, actually. Anyway. Interesting detail. As far as I've heard, the postmortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. I don't think the postmortem report wasn't actually even an autopsy report. It didn't conclude that. Well, I mean, it came to a conclusion about the cause of death, but it didn't explore other possibilities. Oh. I'll deal with that later. Yes, it's written here in the paperwork. Fatal hemorrhage from ballistic trauma. Yes. Luckily for all of us, a little burn on the wrist isn't going to kill us. As there are no other signs of trauma, the victim's body indicates some other cause of death. It could only have been the bullet from your gun that put an end to this innocent man's life. Who shot the gun then? Because there was still a gunshot, right? But it doesn't make sense. The burn must have happened straight away, when the plate was first brought to the table by the waiter. Right, it had to have been really quickly. So it seemed to indicate that the line of events was that he brought the water, then he brought the steak later, right? Maybe he didn't... Oh, that would explain why it would be on his side, right? And when Ryunosuke went over to talk to him, it didn't look like there's anything on the table on the flashback, right? Yes, that's true. If it had cooled even slightly, it wouldn't have been able to make a burn like that. And if the victim burnt his wrist on the hot plate as soon as it was brought out from the kitchen, he must have already been dead at that point.
Objection!
And yet the fact is that the victim was killed by a gunshot to the chest. To be able to show the court evidence to disprove that is a complete waste of time. I concur. Prosecutor Archie is right. That said, he still has a gunshot wound, right? It's not like they inserted that in afterwards. So the gunshot still happened. Presumably there still had to have been guns somewhere. She must have hidden her clothes or something like that, right? If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me.
Yes!
I'm thinking of how to prove it. We don't have any evidence suggesting that, without leaving a trace. Interesting choice of words, but yeah. If someone is shot or strangled, stabbed or thrown from a height, however a person's life is taken, there are always telltale traces on the body. Quite right, dear lady. But poison isn't a new thing, right? As the police forces thoroughly examine the body of the deceased, there can be no doubt. So, okay, so the only logic that makes sense to me is this. They poisoned him to death. They shot him anyways to fake it. But they wanted him dead beforehand instead of just shooting him. Because death isn't like some sure thing to kill someone. Right? Maybe you miss vitals. Maybe he doesn't die immediately. In a way that would make... Yeah, there's the whole thing too. He basically died immediately in all this story, right? With the gunshot stuff. Would a gunshot kill you immediately? Or it would have to be placed in the perfect spot, right? I don't know that much about it, but it feels like that would be the case. Isn't that right, Inspector Hosonaga? As I've said, I always aim for a flawless investigation. There would be physical traces with all those causes of death, that's true. But maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't leave a mark. If heaven forbid you doubt me, young man, you're going to have to tell everyone how exactly you think the professor did lose his life. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls rather flat, doesn't it? Oh no, bears the thought, calling such a sweet young lady's innocent into question. On my honor, I, Takasuchi Achi, will cut down any who dare cast such aspirations with my fan. A way of killing someone that leaves no trace. We need some evidence to back us up here. Yeah, that's the thing. there's nothing that... Yes, evidence. It doesn't seem like there's anything. Enough anesthesia could kill someone, but could it kill someone in, like, delayed? Could it? I have no idea. But it could. But anesthesia does reduce the pain. Could it be enough of a dose that he didn't feel the pain from putting his arm down? His hand down on it? Now this is basically her admitting
Yes!
it. Inferior? What do you mean by that? In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at a crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once and that's the end of it. Isn't that so? Quite right. The carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident. Exactly. Which means that if even the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. Wait, what the hell? It doesn't even occur to you a naive detective to try to preserve the crime scene. I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can. You understand? Ha! A killer blow! The lady is formidable as she is beautiful. Amazing! She's actually admitting our police may be flawed. Now Prosecutor Archie is finally starting to see sense. I very much doubt that. Still, there's something about what Miss Brett just said. There was a moment before, something didn't quite seem quite right. With him. What do you think, Ryunosuke? I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press her, it's not turning up any new information. Yes, as I suspected, she's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony, or the cross-examination will be over. But that would mean I have to find a way. There must be some clue somewhere to help us find a chink in armor. Well, Kazuma, the only thing I can think of that comes to mind is that we don't pursue a contradiction that shows her guilt, but maybe we take her up on her offer when she asks us a question directly. Like, can we think of another way? Anesthesia, maybe. What, Ryunosuke? There is one thing I noticed, something that's been bothering me. Bothering you? You mean about Miss Brett? Actually, no. About the person standing next to her, Professor Hosonaga. The detective. Yes, he seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant. If it might present an opening, maybe. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on that last statement one more time. If you think so, but this time, instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we can get out of the detective. Oh, interesting. Alright then, I wonder what Kazuma's thinking. Find out soon enough, I suppose. Once I press Miss Brett on her last statement again. So can I, like... I can't, like, change over to him?
Yes!
Okay. Okay, how do I do something with this? Is there, like, a button I press? Yes, there it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why? Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. With this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the English woman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity. What do you mean? When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down. So what exactly was the statement that fucked him over? Which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. So he did say that he went out of his way to take that picture to preserve elements of the scene, right? Maybe he has more. it's time to pursue the man and his train of thought. Sorry? Pursue? I'll explain how to do it now, Ryunosuke. It's all to do with the witness marker. What marker? What are you talking about? The moment we focus on Miss Brent, who's the person actually making the current statement. What? By moving the marker left and right, I don't... Oh, the D-pad. Okay. I was actually trying to use the D-pad before. While you're looking at others, you'll be able to pursue them with A. If you can catch the person at just the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. That is an interesting element to this, okay. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people on the stand, take a good look around. Alright then. So I should move on the marker across so-and-so, etc., etc. I'm assuming with A. Figure out what's on his mind.
Wait.
Okay. There we go. Ooh, that's a drawing down there. Okay.
Excuse me.
What's the meaning of this? Okay, that went well. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to shock you. He really was lost in his thoughts. Deeply. It looked like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say. If there's something you'd like to say, please, share it with the court.
Attention!
What is the meaning of this? It's the delightful English woman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over immediately. Oh, is that how it works? Absolutely not. Hmm? The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness. Yes, not to mention the fact that he's intimately involved in the case. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes. Do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brent? Well, yes. If you don't mind, I would like to speak. The lady is right. My country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain. Which is why I, Satoru Hosonaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless. Which means you might do some of those? What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I am not ashamed of what I've done. Okay, yeah. Mad respect for him, even when he dies. A crime scene thief? Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there. Take this, for example. Oh my goodness. Is that? It's the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on that day in question. And yes, it's lost all of its fizz, having opened 3 days ago now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, that is the sticking point. Was it or was it not carbonated water? Yes, there's some left in the bottle. I can see it. Why don't I take a swig? No. Ouchie. Why don't you take a swig and we'll see what happens? One day our police force will be among the best in the world. The time is coming. I can see it. I can respect his enthusiasm. I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. The court will accept the glass bottle of water in as evidence. Perfect. Oh, I'm sure it'll last the end of the trial at the very least. Okay. Miss Brent, can you affirm this is indeed the bottle which you drank the day of the victim's death? Yes. It was that bottle. What was that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question. Very well. Counsel, you may resume the cross-examination. and the inspector will kindly control his fervor. So can I just present that then on this? Oh, I can inspect it too. The label's written in foreign language that I do not recognize. Great. Do you know what it says, Kazuma? I think it's French. This must be very expensive water. Yes, but what does it say? That's what I was asking. Then go to France and ask. You could just say that you don't know. No, okay. Great. I don't know French either. Let alone squiggly French. Doesn't look like there's anything else useful on here. Okay, I'm just gonna present it normally.
Yes!
What is this? The bottle of water. Actually, there is one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Obviously, I am referring to poison. Poison? On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass? Order, order, order! And on that day, who was sitting at the same table as the professor and able to slip the poison into his drink? There's only one person who could have done that. Giselle Brett, it was you!
Objection!
This is outrageous to suggest such a thing without a scrap of evidence. True, I don't have any evidence. How could we test for that in this day and age? I have no idea. You little rookie imbecile. Have you even considered the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? Have you forgotten that we only just signed in a court of friendship with the British Empire? Shut up about that! I don't even care! Neither does my battery. This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect to a crime. What? The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth. If I may, I will silence you forever for this disgraceful attack. It is you who should be silent. Of course. Dear lady. He's gotta be silent about it. Where did that come from? Wait, she just snapped. I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies. I'm sorry, my lady. To what are you referring? To describe your police force as inferior. But no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigate this particular point thoroughly, I believe. The battle, I mean, Inspector. And whether it contained poison or not. Oh, it just requires it to be in the glass, right? Of course. You did? Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already? I strive for a flawless investigation every time. I don't believe it. Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents. And what did you find, Inspector? I ordered the test for every toxin that's available in this country at the present time. We could find no trace of poison of any description in the bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency. What? Are you sure? The tests were meticulously carried out by the chief coroner himself. Really? Okay. No. No! What if it's anesthesia still? Well, no, that's gas. That wouldn't be in a drink. Yeah. I'm very grateful to all you Japanese. You've successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Thank you. But of course, dear lady, the pleasure was all ours. Interesting. I was so sure. This can't be right. Everything falls into place if you use poison. Thank you, counsel. I think that cross-examination has clarified everything. As the prosecution has asserted, a shot to the chest from this gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who by his own admission was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit. Done for. The court wishes to apologize for the great inconvenience this has caused you, Miss Brent. So the sticking point here is probably that they tested every known poison in the country. They're in a medical research thing, right? They could have a different sort of poison. Medicine and poison aren't that far off from each other as concepts. Oh no, I'm just glad the matter's resolved. Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present to the court at this point? Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. I have nothing more. Well, if you'll excuse me now, I really must be leaving. My battery's about to die. Apparently.
Hold it!
Oh, is that her? Is that her? Please wait. Isn't that... What is the meaning of this? Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikotoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense. Mikotoba? In my darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hands, she carried a small package, wrapped in a furoshiki cloth. If the freaking professor sent her to specifically... Oh my goodness. Okay, I guess I'm ending the episode here then. Wow, there's 2 to be continues. That is impressive. Yeah, no, I'll save. And I guess I'm going to call that an episode because that's... I'm almost out of battery for one, and it's nearly 2 hours again. I'll try to get to this again soon, though. I can't... Is there going to be another 2-hour section? Oh my goodness. If this first trial is like 6 hours, that's... Have any of them ever been that long? This is really good, though. I'm guessing she went to the medical facility and grabbed something that could be used as poison that wouldn't be tracked. But if the professor knew that all along, that's a hell of a lot of good foresight. To also not tell us that he thought that might be the case. And also not tell us that she's going to grab it. So, fuck it. I'll leave it there for the day, though. I'll see you all next time. Drive safely, everyone.